First of all, I want to make it very clear that the figure of 800,000 public rental units is not a target in terms of construction of public rental housing targets. It is definitely not a ceiling on what the government is willing to prepare to produce for people of Hong Kong. But in my housing philosophy, I did make it very clear in the policy address on 4 points, and I just want to highlight 2 of those points. One is housing is not just a simple commercial product or commodity. So it is the responsibility of the government to look after the housing needs of the people of Hong Kong. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is in the course of meeting the needs of the people of Hong Kong, I said in my policy address that I will continue to build on top of what has been promised in the long-term housing strategy. So looking ahead, it could only increase and certainly will not decrease. But the ultimate solution lies in the supply of land. If there's enough land, the government has the capacity and the needed resources to continue to build with a view to help people and families in need. And as far as my stance on the public rental housing, that is also very clearly stated in the policy address that this is, in terms of housing, the safety net for the grassroots and the less advantaged families. And so I will attach a lot of importance to try to shorten the waiting time for housing, for public rental housing units. So the idea of building more green subsidized housing for sale is to meet the aspirations of those relatively more well-off tenants in the public rental housing who want to buy their own flat instead of continuing living in a rental flat. And by design, every single unit of GSH being sold will produce a vacant public rental housing unit for allocation to other families on the housing waiting list, or will take care of one of those families in the queuing for the public rental housing. So that by itself will not reduce the amount of units that we could allocate to families in need of public rental housing. The 800,000 figure is no more than a stock taking of what we already have, plus what are already in the pipeline that clearly will be kept as public rental housing. And whether this will be enough will depend on a lot of factors. So I'm not talking about putting a cap on the public rental housing program.